Hi everybody, thank you very much for joining me. I wanted to take some time today to show you this book, the John Lennon Mind Games book that's it's coming out according to Amazon 24th of September. I have seen some photos online of some bookshops that have actually got it on display already. Not quite sure what that's all about. But this is relating to the John Lennon Mind Games release that's obviously been ongoing now for a few months. This particular edition is the one that I got in the cube. There is the big cube there that came out back in July. But essentially the book that's coming out as standalone on September 24th is the same book as this. So I'm going to show you in this video some things about this book. I'm also going to show you how it roughly compares to the book that came in the Super Deluxe edition along with the 6 CDs and Blu-ray. Because I know people have often said, well, you know, I'm getting a really nice book with this, and this is a really nice book. So why do I need a standalone book as well? Maybe you don't, but I'll point out what the differences are between the two, and you can decide whether this is something that you want to get hold of. So this is produced by Thames and Hudson. It is a lovely hardback book, quite weighty, quite thick. And this is the third in a series of standalone books. As many of you will know, that while the Ultimate Mix campaign has been going on, we have also had books for Plastic Ono Band. I love that spine. That's actually not, well, actually that's not the spine of the book, that's the pages of the book. I think that's really funky. And we've had one for Imagine as well. So this in itself is building up to be a real nice collection, and I hope that this is something that continues. If you're somebody who regards yourself as a, let's say, historian of John Lennon, or somebody who's really interested in John Lennon's life post-Beatles, then this is a really interesting collection of books to really sort of delve deep into what was going on at the time. So I'm just going to show you a few bits and pieces in here. We've got, I'll show you the index page first of all, or the contents page, sorry. Then you can get an idea of the kind of things that are covered in this book. Obviously they're fairly brief titles there. Now you'll notice that the songs on the Mind Games album are mentioned here as chapters within their own right. So for example, Titars, Bring on the Lucy, Intuition, etc. But they're not necessarily chapters that deal with those songs in the same way that this book does, the one that came with the deluxe edition box set. So the main difference is this book talks about the recording of the album. So while this focuses on, for example, what Dave Spinoza was doing on guitar, while it talks about equipment that was used to make the album and all the different sort of takes that were recorded for each song and information about the tape boxes and everything, this is very much about the making of the album. This book differs significantly. This doesn't go into that detail on the making of the album. This is way more in depth on actually just what was happening in John's life at the time, John and Yoko. So when it talks about, for example, the section on intuition, then it's talking in here about, it's got old archive transcripts from John interviews where he's talking about his intuition, how that's influenced his life. It's got a lot of things in here about the political things that they were getting involved in the time. We've got some, we've got loads and loads of photographs in here. For example, this is, we've got an example here of John and Yoko's book collection of the time. So the kind of things that were influencing John around this time, and a lot of these are to do with the kind of themes that he would be singing about on the Mind Games album. We've got some real nice photographs in there as well. You see that one? We've got these letters here. Now these are letters that John wrote during the 70s. So for example, one of them is to the Elephants Memory Band. There is one to Dear Harold. I'm not sure who Harold is. We've got Dear David, please pay the following bill. Sightseeing admittance charge, $200. So for example, you've got all sorts of things there of letters that John Lennon was writing during the 70s. So it's a really interesting booklet that goes in. It does go into some detail at the end with interviews with people who were involved in the making of the record, the musicians and the producers and such like. So there's some of that is a bit of a crossover with this book, but that's really kind of the only bit. The rest of it is just really what was going in John and Yoko's life at the time. So, really nice book this. I'm not quite sure why on the Thames and Hudson website it doesn't show this book when you search for it. That's a little odd. Maybe they've sold out of their allocation, I'm not sure. But I know, for example, you can get it from Waterstones in the UK. I saw a picture online a couple of days ago of it seems to be already on the shelves there. You can get it from Amazon and any other, well, good book retailers basically. So if you want to build up a library of, or if you already are building up a library of these standalone books, don't forget that this one is out soon. You can see what it looks like on the shelf. It's a consistent size with the other two that have come out before, which I always think is really important. You know, these things as a collection need to look good aesthetically in your shelves. I'm a big believer in that. So this book may be for you. You may be perfectly happy with this book if you've got it. But if you are interested in it, don't forget that this is coming out shortly. So I'd be interested to know whether you're getting this book or not. Have you got the previous books in the series? What did you think about those? Just to let you know, I'm going to be back very soon with a video on the Beatles US album box set, which I know plenty of people have done videos about that already. I'm going to have to come at it from a slightly different angle to other people. There's no point me trying to compete, for example, with an American who grew up with those albums. So I'm gonna come at it from a sort of a UK fan's perspective, of somebody who's sort of seen those albums from afar. So I've got that coming up soon, and of course in the next few days, as I record this, Paul McCartney's One Hand Clapping is going to be out in the cinemas. I'm going to be going to see that on Thursday the 26th, and I'll be bringing you a review of that as well and my thoughts on that. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you again very soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.